Today, we're going to talk about a CEDH card that maybe needs to be on your radar.
We're also going to make the recommendation that you buy a Tibble card. Yes, that's right, a card with Tibble on it.
And make sure to stick around to the beginning of the video. Here we go. Stick around to the beginning of the video. We're going to talk about the shit. And make sure to stick around to the beginning of the video. We're going to talk about the best possible card that you could use to tutor Elite Vanguard. The video starts right now. Highest level of gratitude to our patrons who power the channel through Patreon. Check out the Patreon link in the description to learn about monthly giveaways, VIP Discord access, and even our official playmat.
For a limited time, join the Patreon at any level and receive a free Jake or Joel Neon Dynasty sticker while supplies last.
Hello and welcome to the day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
I'm Jake.
I'm Joel. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. We are going to talk about great MTG pickups. All of these cards are at all-time lows within the last couple of weeks, and we think they have some excellent application in Commander. But before we get into this, got to give a shout out to our channel sponsor, Dragon Shield. If you are going to shop Dragon Shield products on the internet, use the link in the description below, and it directly helps out the channel.
And shout out to MTG Stocks. We're going to be using that site today in this video. They always have very good up-to-date information if you're into the MTG Finance scene. We're going to be talking about a lot of cards that are at their all-time low today. Remember to take all of the prices in this video with a grain of salt. Nothing on this channel is financial advice and is purely for entertainment purposes.
That being said, let's take a look at some Commander cards that are probably great pickups right now. Jake, I feel like we have talked about this ad nauseum at this point. Modern Horizons 2 base copy Fetchlands. Once every 2 or 3 months we go, I don't know, y'all. These can't get any lower, right? But they just seem to continue trickling down. And so honestly, if you've held off this long, this is your sign. Hello, we are here. Go buy Fetchlands if you need Fetchlands.
Yeah, Modern Horizons 2 Fetchlands, there were just so many printed of them. You know, there were so many different versions. You got the base copy, you got the etched copy, you got the retro copy, you got the foil, you got the extended. I mean, when they said they were going to reprint these in a meaningful way, they did not hold back. I mean,
no,
we did
they
get
weren't lying.
A very meaningful reprint. And I still see Modern Horizons 2 being opened up. It's a product that, because of how stacked it is, there's a ton of it, and people are still cracking it. Who knows when they reprint these again, but at this point, you know, I wouldn't expect them to pop up in a regular product or even like a specialty product like a modern set for a while again. You know,
yeah,
like,
I mean, that's what I was going to say. You remember how long it took them to get back around to Fetchlands when they were meaningfully printed last time. And so
right.
These, I believe you're absolutely right, Jake. These are not going to come back around again. We even got a secret layer with them, so it's not even like we could go, oh yeah, you'll see them in a secret layer, because probably not at this point. This is probably it for these. And when they're getting down into, I mean, mid-20s for Arid, Scalding Tarn, you got Misty around low 20s, under 20 for Verdant, Marsh Flats around 15, Aird's around 15. I mean, you can get a copy of each and then proxy them up so that you can use them in all your Commander decks. I love using them. If you're a newer Commander player, these go into the graveyard once they've been used, and it counts as another card type in your graveyard. So there's a lot of cards that look for the size of your graveyard, which this contributes to. There are a lot of cards that look for different types of cards, land, instant, sorcery, creature, whatever, in your graveyard, and these
Delirium.
just help with that. So just from a little strategy aspect, people are always talking about Fetchlands, so I wanted you to know, if you didn't know, why they're also good on top of just being great mana fixing. Jake, Modern Horizons 2 Fetchlands, is there even anything else to say about these? I feel like we talk about these once every 3 months since they've come out.
No, essentially, if you missed the boat, you missed the boat. If, like, the boat has been here and you're welcome to hop aboard it at any point. But when they start trending back up, and they will, you know, as MTG continues to grow, I would expect to see them if we ever go back to Battle for Zendikar and they do some sort of expedition thing like they did in BFZ or in Zendikar Rising. I'm sure that there's some application for bringing them back, but it'll probably be as a specialty item. I don't know if they just jam them in every single Masters type set, like Double Masters and every Modern Horizon set. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think that these are, it's pretty rare when we get them, and we did get a very huge reprint of them.
Next up, we've got a colorless spell that can go into pretty much any commander deck, and that's Wandering Archaic. I've started to see a little bit more buzz about this card recently on Twitter. I know that there was some hype for it when it came out and sort of died off, but I am still a big fan of this card every time I've played it. The front is a 5-mana creature, 4/4. It says whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery, they may pay 2, and if they don't, you may copy that spell and you get to choose new targets for the copy. So it's like a weird Ristic Study, Taxi type of effect where they've got to pay 2 or you get a copy of all their spells. Then on the back is Explore the Vastlands. It's a sorcery for 3 that says each player looks at the top 5 cards of their library, reveals a land and or an instant or sorcery from among them, then puts the cards they revealed this way into their hand and the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order. Mostly for a deck though, you are going to be playing this for its front side, this Wandering Archaic, as just sort of, Jake, a tax on people's instants and sorceries that if they're not paying, you're just getting value.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really like playing flip cards, but what's great about this card is you never play the other side of it.
You just want the front.
Yeah, you just want the front. It's a $6 card. It got printed in Strixhaven, which for a rare that came out of a pretty recent set, that's a pretty good price tag on this card. As far as appreciating value for a card that goes in any commander deck, it really is good in everything. It's kind of like this card could just be filler in any kind of deck, and if you want to refine your deck in the future, you cut it for something that might have more synergy.
Right.
But it's just basic good stuff, and the fact that it goes in anything leaves a lot of desire from at least casual builders, and I think it's a very strong card, one of the standouts from the set.
I like when two different things meet, and that is a card that is retaining that like $5 to $7 value, and it is still almost a brand new card. When those two things meet, you see what is happening up here, where the foil is not that much more right now than the base level copy. You're not at the point yet where 2x minimum for a foil of a desirable card. And so this one for right now, I would say, I would even recommend go and check out, see if you can find a good foil copy of this for $6 to $8, somewhere in there, because I do think there's going to be a lot of applicable play with this card over the coming years.
Next up, 1 black, 2 other for Ophiomancer. This card was just reprinted in Commander Collection Black. At the beginning of each upkeep, if you control no snakes, create a 1/1 black snake creature token with Death Touch. So very strong blocker. This is a card that's very strong in Aristocrats. If you don't know about Commander Aristocrats, Sacrificing, it's a very, very strong archetype, and this card is a perfect piece in it. This card is CEDH playable, so keep that in mind. It's good in Yawgmoth, and like I said, lots of Aristocrat strategies.
Kels, Fight Fixer, because you're able to sacrifice the snake token to make her indestructible. You said Yawgmoth, that's right, nail on the head. I'm loving that it's creating it at each upkeep. You've got a perfect blocker. You've got a sacrificable thing each turn if you want it to be. I particularly like this version of it. The Commander Collection Black print is now available for under $10. A lot of people have these in their hands now. They've been opened for the cards that they want. They're selling the chaff. A couple of the other cards from Commander Collection Black, like the Soul Ring, the Command Tower, those are also going to be trending downward right now. So now's a really good time to look at this set in particular, see if you want to pick up any of the singles from it. Like Jake said in the intro, we have now got the perfect card for searching up Elite Vanguard right into your hand so you can get it onto the battlefield as soon as possible. That's Imperial Recruiter, Jake. Jake, this is sort of a weird case study in MTG scarcity and reprints. We always refer to this card as being that card. If you look at the Portal 3 Kingdoms version, it's even still high on the charts. But we're talking about up over $300 in 2017, because this, at that point, was the only version we had. Now, Double Masters reprint, Modern Horizons 2 reprint, and the one that we're talking about today, which is the Borderless like special edition, look at our fancy card MTG version. Jake, you can get this for under $10 now. CEDH, strong commander. This card is good.
Yeah, it tutors up a bunch of strong cards. You know, we named some of them. Draneth Magistrate, Grand Abolisher, or others. Dothi Voidwalker, Thassa's Oracle, which is a win con in CEDH. You know, some of my favorites are, you know, like Black Cat, Arbor Elf, Mog Fanatic, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, Imperial Recruiter, being able to go in, tutor something up that's just like absolutely perfect for the situation in the deck. You know, you can use this card for redundancy. That's what cards like this exist for. Recruiter of the Guard, Imperial Recruiter, any creature that comes in and goes to tutor something small, you have something in the deck that's specific for that. So yeah, if you do not have this card, there's no time like the present to go in, get the special extended art. Actually, this would be borderless version. This is an alternate art borderless copy. So yeah, definitely a card worth having in the collection if you don't have it, especially as you start to refine your deck, bring it to higher power, lower the curve, that kind of stuff. This is a great card. Next up, we have Cryptic Command, 3 blue, 1 other. So probably going in a monocolor deck or 2-color deck. Looking at you, Urza. Counter target spell, return target permanent to its owner's hand, tap all creatures your opponents control, and draw a card. So modes in Commander are very strong, being able to pick between multiple things. This is a card that you pay 4 mana and you are getting a 2-for-1, whether you're drawing a card and bouncing something, countering a spell, drawing a card. This card is just very good, and it is value. It's velocity, it's versatility, what's not to like, and the price continues to go down, down, down as Modern is kind of out of the limelight right now. This card sits around 16 or 17 bucks for the Modern Masters 2015 version.
Yeah, I covered this one in a short that I posted a week ago. This card is going to get less and less attention over the next 2 months, maybe 3 months, because we are going to go into Capenna, which is going to be a 3-color set. So everybody's going to be building 3-color decks or more. And 3-color deck doesn't really hold Cryptic Command well. Jake was absolutely right. Mono blue, 2-color, that's kind of where you're going to want to live with this card. I really like it in Taigam Ojutai Master, specifically because it is a counter spell that also has modes you can choose when it rebounds. It's not an absolute blank if you cast it for free at an inopportune time, or you rebound it and recast it from exile. If some card lets you do that, you're going to be able to choose modes on it that are relevant. This is a really strong Commander card, and while everybody's attention is off of it, you might pick up a really cool piece for your like Baral deck if you're an absolute jerk in your friend group. Taigam Ojutai Master, like I said, or even the new Chun-Li, Jake, from the Secret Lair. That one was about instants. You know, I could see this card maybe getting a little pickup when those are actually arriving in players' hands. Professor Onyx from Strixhaven's up next. I've always liked this Planeswalker since it's come out, but it hasn't really caught on too strongly. However, at 10 bucks, or even, Jake, I love with this one that right now it's in that phase that I was talking about where the borderless versions, the special versions, the foil versions are all about the same price. You can get the borderless, you know, showcase of this card for just $12 over the $8, $9, $10 price that it is as a base level copy. But in a Vial Smasher deck, Jake, or anything that's going infinite when you want to cast Chain of Smog and just drain all of your opponents out infinitely because you can recast that, anything like that that's really going to take advantage of Magecraft. And then your Planeswalker's also going to be delivering cards to your hand or acting as a removal spell through sacrifice, that -3 to have each opponent sack a creature with the greatest power among creatures that players control. I mean, I'm thinking that this is just a really strong card that just hasn't really caught on yet.
Yeah, I think so. It's also a little bit top heavy at 6 mana. I think that might have something to do with it. So it's going to go into more casual decks, and we should kind of bring up, you know, a lot of the cards that we cover, unless we specifically mention their first CEDH, you know, kind of think like medium to high power level. Obviously, if you're running a bunch of mana rocks, you're going to be able to get Professor Onyx out pretty quick. But yeah, I mean, it has the sacrifice built in. You know, it has card draw and velocity as well. So it's a card that is firing on a lot of cylinders. The only thing I think that holds it back a little bit is its mana value.
Yep, Dreadhorde General is the same mana value though, and you don't hear anybody talking about the mana value of Dreadhorde General being too high.
Yeah, I mean, Dreadhorde General has, you know, it has everything you need though, right? It has the creature synergy,
create a
built
body,
in.
yep, the removal, the card draw.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on over there too. Next up, we have Ancient Green Warden, 2 green, 4 other for a 5/7 reach. Big elemental here. You may play lands from your graveyard. If a land entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time.
Landfall.
So a little bit of like a Yep, exactly. Landfall, kind of like Panharmonicon type ability going on here, but you can also play lands from your graveyard, and that means your Fetchlands. That means your lands like Strip Mine, Tectonic Edge, Wasteland, all of that kind of stuff. Dust Bowl, you can replay anything that you sacrifice with those. It's a very, very strong card going on here. A big 5/7 body. It's green, so it goes into any green deck. You know, when does green ever have a problem pumping out a giant creature?
You're going to particularly like this in 4-color Omnath, in decks like Phylath, in Lord Windgrace, in Mina and Den. Really anything that's going to be land-centric is going to be able to sprint this out onto the battlefield. It's also got reach just as a little kicker, block all the little 1/1 tokens that are coming at you. At under $9, this is a really great green mythic for your landfall decks, honestly. Next up, we've got Valki, God of Lies, but really what we want to look at is Tibble, Cosmic Imposter. The back of Valki is this really, really incredible planeswalker that's got a really enormous mana cost, but if you can get it onto the battlefield, and there are ways to cheat it, it can be very powerful. This exile the top card of each player's library. You can just exile an artifact or creature straight up. And then you've got this passive ability to be able to play cards exiled with it with mana of any color. Valki is a card that has just been trending downward. And at this point, you can get this card that is good to play early because it's got a low CMC on the front, or it's good to play late for around $10. That seems like a really good pickup price for a card that likes to go into Prosper, which has been a really popular commander recently, or a Sika, God of the Tree, or even Bolus, the one that turns into a planeswalker from being a creature on the front.
Yeah, sure. And Valki on the front is actually pretty good. You know, if you exile a creature that is splashy, being able to pay X if you have enough mana, and Valki becomes a copy of that creature, I mean, that can be very strong. But yeah, the Tibble on the back is just so splashy. It is so expensive. So yeah, running this in Prosper where you have lots of treasure, or any type of deck where you have a pile of mana rocks, your soul rings, your mana crypts, everything that's going to get this out as early as possible. Now, planeswalkers do lose a little bit of potency in EDH because sometimes they don't affect each player. Well, Tibble, Cosmic Imposter does. You're going to be able to uptick for 2, exile the top of each player's library, and you're going to be able to cast cards in certain situations. And that's
even if Tibble leaves the battlefield, that ability is passive.
That emblem stays. Yeah, pretty sweet card going on here. Next up, we have Batterskull, and this is an equipment that goes all the way back. Joel, we started playing Batterskull was a huge card, man.
Yo, this card was a menace when we were in college. I'm not even lying. This card was
playing against this in standard was
so
brutal,
annoying,
dude.
It's because of the 3 cost, and I think that's why I still recommend this card today. Obviously, you can see just by the price graph here, the card has fallen out of favor, but any equipment deck, which it seems like they print a new equipment commander every morning when they wake up just for fun. So I know that Batterskull is still going to have play, and it's that 3 mana return Batterskull to its owner's hand. That is why I like this so much, because just for 3 mana, Jake, you're getting away from any board wipe stuff, and then you just replay it as a creature anyway. You don't really even have to have a creature to attach this to.
That's why this card was so popular back when it was in standard, is because you could just plop it in any control deck, just blow everything up, and then return your Batterskull to your hand, and then replay it. And
this was standard with Jace the Mind Sculptor, and it was in the same decks as Jace the Mind Sculptor, so I'll just put it that way.
Yeah. It's a very strong card, and it also has lifelink on it, so you can't really complain when something has lifelink. That's a really good way to get back in the game, and it also gives a nice big buff too.
You can pick up a copy from the list for about $8-9 right now. The new Phyrexian one's about the same price. Also be aware that for just like twice that, at $20, you've got the Double Masters Borderless Batterskull that the art looked crazy. Some people really liked it. But there are versions of this card that are available right now that you can pick up with about $8, $9 being the right price. Wanted to throw a nice $50 option on here if you had that much money burning a hole in your pocket and you wanted a good pickup. I really like Food Chain right now. The Mercadian Masks copy you can see has kind of gone up in popularity. It's been coming back down, but our all-time low is coming at the list version right now that's getting the cost of this card under $50.
Yeah, this card is a CEDH playable staple card if you're trying to combo out and just win quickly. You could pair it with the Misthallow Griffin, the Eternal Scourge combo, where you're able to net an extra mana on top of it every single time. So it's just one of those cards that are like, once you're set up, you play it, you win the game. So as far as having a copy of that, if you're looking for something a little bit more high power, then consider a Food Chain deck. Food Chain is a win condition in a lot of different decks. It's a powerhouse in Commander, just absolutely nutty card. It's one of those cards that, honestly, in my opinion, you would expect it to be reserve list because of how powerful the effect is.
Agreed.
But it ends up not being reserve list.
It's like
one of those
just
cards
around
like,
right at the cutoff, right? It could have been included, but it wasn't. I wanted to pull up this.
It looks like it's old as shit, but it's just, it is what it is.
I wanted to pull up this section of the card to show that Legacy, Vintage, and Commander are the only places we see this card. So it's going to have to be a Commander-centric set, like Baldur's Gate, a Secret Lair, which is fairly unlikely, seeing as how we got a Judge promo of it in recent years as well, but that doesn't necessarily preclude it from being in a Secret Lair. However, it would be a very expensive option there at $50. But we're definitely not going to see it in a modern set. So it's going to have to be a specialty set or a Secret Lair, which is probably going to end up keeping the price of this card in the high 40s.
Yeah, if you were to put it into modern, people would figure out a way to break it, and it's just the kind of thing where we don't really need that. It's a card that belongs in Commander. It's one of those things where, hold a counter spell up so that you can counter it when this happens. You have the casuals that want it. You have the extremely spiky players that want it. It's just one of those that you want to have a copy of it in your collection, just in case you want to tinker around with the pure degeneracy.
Those are our picks for great pickups right now in the world of MTG. Let us know down in the comments what cards you're seeing are at fantastic prices to pick up for Commander collections right now.
Reminder, nothing on this channel is financial advice. Make sure to do your own due diligence. Make sure to check around and take all prices that you hear with a grain of salt, because they are constantly fluctuating. So if you hear this in like a month and you're like, wait, those prices are wrong, well, yeah, they probably are.
If you've made it this far in the video, you probably like Commander, you probably like MTG Finance. You definitely should go join our Discord. We're talking about that 24 hours a day over there. We also run a Commander League monthly competition for prizes through our Patreon, through our Discord. So go check out that. That might be a good fit for you.